Previously, Nova rushed to tell Bertrand that Thalia had disappeared, and Bertrand then had to spend the next little while trying to keep Nova from spiraling. They found what was essentially a fantasy tracking chip in Thalia's room that she had clearly dug out of her skin. One of Adria's parents took the chip and got it out of the village before destroying it. Outside the village, Kareska spoke to Zarakir through Venator. She told him that she had something for him, and he sent Venator back to Limbo to see what it was. Eventually, everyone made it back to Adria's home. Isaac was surprisingly not hungover, while Kess was wearing a dress that no one had seen them wearing before. Adria and Ren had a frank conversation about sex, threesomes, and expectations. Once everyone was together, though, Bertrand and Nova filled the group in on what had happened. Isaac used Detect Magic and found a chip in Nova's arm as well. Kess carefully cut it out of his skin before healing the wound. Then, while the others talked about what the fuck they should do, Kess went to cast Commune to find out just how fucked they were. The spell revealed that Arspec knew that the group had been in Adria's village, but they didn't know about Quickwater or Rialta's Grove. Adria, Nova, and Ren headed out to destroy the shard. The others stayed in the village and talked with Adria's parents. One of them went off to make arrangements for the group to meet with the elders. The elders agreed to meet with the group, and they were warned that Rupert would be there. While her parents loved her, they warned the group that it would be a good idea to keep Adria from saying anything to him that would undermine her in the eyes of the elders. Out at a lake a few hours away from the village, Nova dropped a fireball in the shard to destroy it. He then used up the majority of his magic, dropping multiple fireballs on the frozen lake in frustration. While they were away from the village, Adria poked at Nova and made him actually talk about his relationship with Bertrand. Then they all traveled back to the village via tree to save time. They still had a few hours before they were due to meet with the elders, so Adria suggested they go get cleaned up at some hot springs near the village. While they were there, Venator returned with a cipher for Zarakir to work on solving. The group eventually headed out to meet with the elders. They were led before the council, as well as Rupert. Several of them noticed that Rupert looked thrilled, and he was clearly planning on using whatever happened as a chance to bring down Adria. Adria gave a very basic introduction to the group before Ren took over explanations. When he mentioned Arspec, everyone reacted in a way that made it clear they recognized the name. Rupert tried to push for Adria to be punished for bringing danger to the village, making it clear he thought it was a sign that it was a bad thing for people to step outside of their traditional roles. He was shut down pretty quickly. Nova provided them with as much information as he could about Arspec. One of the elders explained that it had been 60 years since Arspec last tried to infiltrate the village. They'd fought them off, killing many of them, but one of them had changed his priorities and remained in the village all that time. The man's name was Arnor, and it was suggested that the group might want to speak with him. One of the elders made a reference to protecting something further north. Adria remembered some comments Isaac had made about a mysterious town called Horizon, which they'd seen written on the list that had included Darkmoon. It caught her a bit off guard, as she hadn't realized her village knew about it. Adria stayed behind to talk with one of the elders as the others all filed out. She gave Adria a ring of truth-telling as a gift. It was highly suggested that the group leave the village once the festival was over, just until the elders had a better idea of how much interest Arspec had in them. No one argued considering the circumstances, but they still had one more night to enjoy themselves. And that is where we left off.